let's get all up in here, is applying for a job. You're not begging, you're offering value. So, how many of us, I'm going to be transparent. This was me, and this is sometimes can be me, but I had to also ask myself this question is, am I performing or am I really giving myself or am I able to really showcase my personality, my character, who I am, and am I bringing integrity to my job? Because I spent 5 years at a company, customer service, worked my way up from entry level to supervisor level, only to realize that that company was very toxic, as well as that company had a glass ceiling, and only to realize that the leadership of that company contradicted and was counterproductive to my values. And we're also going to talk about employees, colleagues, how to navigate that, because that's hard because your colleagues become your family, right? And it can be very hard to set boundaries, and it can also be very hard to decide that this is not you, it's me. And I'm having to position myself in another direction, not because I don't love you or not because I don't value the friendship that we once had, but it's just we're in different lanes now. So I have to act accordingly. So the grand purpose of this video in particular is, let's start with the beginning, applying for a job. And how many of us have felt, okay, I'm begging, please, God, please hire me, Lord, please, I'll get this job and then I can move up and I can pay my bills and I can do X, Y, and Z. These are not wrong motives because you know you have responsibility. These aren't wrong. But the unfortunate tale is that when we're operating in desperation, which is 99.9% of the time, which in what we do, and I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of that sometimes, but I also catch myself because I'm like, man, why does this feel so familiar? I feel like I'm operating in desperation. And I also feel as if I'm like working the streets, I'm begging, but I feel like I'm compromising in some ways, and that I'm also missing some red flags because just as we're being interviewed by these employers, we need to be interviewing their behinds and really figuring out their value system, mental health. Do you care about it? Mental health is a thing. I know many of us may not believe in it, but it's a thing because most of the times when burnout happens, we're like, what is this? I'm feeling I can't brush my teeth. I'm feeling tired. I hardly get time to wash my hair. I hardly get time to cook. I'm eating out. I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, but I feel like there's not enough time during the day. We're burned out, especially when you've given and given and given and given and given. So at one point, do we really ask ourselves here, are we begging or are we also the reason why things are moving at our jobs? Or are we the reason why things are actually moving smoothly? Because we're offering value. But what are we getting back in return? Because nine times out of 10, the amount of effort that you pour into your jobs, we're not paid enough for that. Sip on that for a minute. We're not paid enough for that. And many of us will then trickle into going into entrepreneurship and venturing off. But let's get back on top because we have more things to discuss on future Career Tuesdays. So, as far as let's get into our grounded questions. Am I applying for this job out of desperation or alignment? So, this can come as a mixed question because many times we apply for jobs because we know that the rent is due. We know that we have to contribute to our home, be team players. We know that we have to be individuals who are offering value to our households. So, how many times are we felt the need to be placed in this position that I need to contribute? I need to do X, Y, and Z for the sake of my family, but it doesn't align with my purpose or goals. Because for some of us, we may want to be an author, we may want to be a fashion designer. We've heard different individuals with stories. Like Damon John, he worked at fast food joints and then he still sold t-shirts outside of, places, just to get his fashion line up. And how many times have we had to work in jobs that are outside of our alignment, but still try to pursue things that are in our alignments at the same time? That was me. As an MSW student and as an individual who is passionate about the field of mental health, but also on a spiritual level, supporting individuals in times of peril and crisis and being an intercessor, I was intercessing for furniture delays and minute issues compared to someone facing a mental health crisis. So it was very stressful for me to have dual brains. Turns off, here's your credit. Turns on, here's your resources to support your mental health. It was hard until I had to make, and my mom, different individuals in my life told me, girl, you need to get up out of here because they do not appreciate you. And also, this is contradicting your value system. I didn't listen because I had a mortgage. I have a mortgage. Bills need to be paid, responsibilities. I have 2 dogs. I know what I need to do and contribute. But it wasn't until I reached my breaking point and I voluntarily took leave off work. And I went heavily in prayer. It was very stressful. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I heavily in prayer. And I said, Lord, please bring me a job that's within the career and field of where I'm going in. I cannot go back to customer service. That's not me. That's not my role. Though I learned leadership techniques, how to talk to people, which is a spiritual gift that I already had, but it was sharpened in many ways. So I'm not going to just say that that place was just pure hell. I learned. I was able to really digest and really pick up what I needed to learn as a young woman and also helped me to develop in many ways. But in some ways, it was also making me comfortable and crippling me in many ways too, where I also started to grow stale in many spiritual avenues and ways that I knew that I needed to grow in, but I wasn't growing in it. So, and this is not rehearsed. This is a cappella. This is divine download. Thank you, God, for this moment, because this is the first time that I'm actually giving it a voice. I probably spoke this to my mother before, but I haven't really verbalized this out in the open of what desperation over alignment looks like. And also the prayer that I did. And not to mention, I applied for jobs that were only in what I wanted every single day. 365, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday. I went all the way down. 3 applications or even almost 10 every single day. Sometimes at night, if I can't sleep, I went to see what was on the job boards. Oh, my resume is saved. Apply. Because, by the next day, things are going. Because I knew that I was not going to go back to work. So I stayed on leave for as long as I could, used up all my hours. So that way, certain hours that would be paid out to me, I would receive. So I used up all those hours, but I kept applying. And the thing is, before I heard a yes back from the place where I'm currently working, which I will not share because a lot of what I do is confidential and I have clients, so it's confidential. So I will not share that part with you. But what I would say is that it's in crisis care, it's in mental health care. But I did not hear a full yes before I even sent my letter of resignation in. And I described the devaluing of that company and not giving the associates what they need and mental health and leadership down.